What's up, everybody? This is the Booch, and welcome to episode 19 of the Boochcast reviews Darkside of the Ring. And ladies and gentlemen,
holy shit!
Oh yeah, that is the best way to describe the episode that we have in store for you. Now, before we get to this episode, we do have to make a little bit of an announcement here. Originally, when we planned to do this episode of Darkside of the Ring, it was originally supposed to be myself, Zach, and Gator Ricky Ross. However, due to some personal family issues, I will not say what they are. I don't know if he wants them public or not. So we're just going to say, due to personal family issues, Gator is not able to join us for this episode. And with the limited schedule that Zach has, being a dishwasher, he is not able to be available as often. This is literally the only time we could get him in here to make this happen. So unfortunately, we have to go on without Gator Ricky Ross. However, as I've mentioned before in previous episodes, if at some point down the road, Gator wishes to make his own video and share his own thoughts on the episode we're about to get into, he is more than welcome to do so. I will allow him to make his own video. I've even extended that to like most Boochcast co-hosts. If they want to make their own video with their own thoughts on what's gone down in Darkside of the Ring, they're welcome to do that. I will put them on the channel for you guys to check out. But for this official episode, it'll be just me and the man joining me right now, who you all know as the broke soulless ginger, Zach Scott, is here. And the episode we're getting into is we're going to be talking about the ultra violence of Nick Gage.
What the fuck?
Yeah, Zach almost bitched out on this episode.
Dick.
Well, I meant that you literally called me up and said, "Dude, I can't do this." I'm like, you were like 10 minutes in, you were like, "I'm done. I can't." You were ready to crap out after 10 minutes.
Like Peter Griffin did off of Family Guy. Done.
Dude, was it that brutal what you were watching?
I was watching. It's like, I'm the best motherfucker ever. I see this guy go through some glass. I see a guy go set on fire. I was like, okay. You're emotionally disturbing individual. I know not to be in a locked cage with you because you might try to eat me like a zombie. I hope you don't put salt, pepper, and steak sauce on me.
Yeah, he was nuts.
God.
Now, Nick Gage, of course, is considered the most ultra-violent athlete in wrestling history. Now, apparently the ultra-violence is from the fact that he has his background, which is in deathmatch wrestling. Mm-hmm. And it's a style of wrestling that you don't see very often.
It's too fucking dangerous.
And yeah, it's insanely fucking dangerous, and there's a lot of brutality that goes involved in it. And Nick Gage is considered the best at this. And he loves what he does, and he's the best motherfucker in the world doing it today. Mm-hmm. Mostly because he's one of the few people fucking crazy enough to do this shit. He's used glass, light bulbs, barbed wires, and other weapons not designed for the human body. Mm-mm. Like stuff that you should never use on a wrestler. Even things where even New Jack's like, I'm not touching that, bro. And that's what these guys do. It's that insane. And beyond the fantasy world of larger-than-life heroes and villains lies the brutal and unforgiving underworld of death match wrestling. And its undisputed king is Nick Gage. And the thing about deathmatch wrestling is that it's very much involving hardcore violence, blood,
guts, and mayhem. Looks like a medieval battle from Braveheart.
Yeah, it's literally like designed to be a bloodbath. It's designed to like kill somebody if they're not careful. Like this style of wrestling is not for the normal, and it's the type of wrestling. Oh yeah, the thing is this. There's a difference, believe it or not, between hardcore wrestling and deathmatch. Like, there are people who do hardcore wrestling but won't touch deathmatch wrestling. Because hardcore just has weapons. It has some violence, but it's limited, and it's timed, and it's done. Hardcore wrestling is basically if deathmatch had psychology. That's hardcore wrestling. It's deathmatch with psychology. Deathmatch has no psychology in it of any kind. You can't tell me there's psychology in a deathmatch. There isn't. There isn't. It is literally just, I'm going to hit you in the head with a blunt instrument as hard as I can till you bleed, and the audience is going to love it. And it's a sick, twisted fan base this thing has.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, you guys
Yeah.
go out there, enjoy smoking your crystal meth, and then beat the shit out of each other, basically.
Yes, these are the guys who smoke crystal meth, and then they go home to their wife and their sister, who's the same person. But yeah, I'm gonna get letters. But anyway, when the bell rings, it's real to Nick Gage.
Yeah.
And there's gonna be a fight. Like, he's one of those people that Nick Gage is one of those people that needs to be pulled to the side and go, dude, it's a work. The other guy will sell for you. And that don't register with him. He don't get that shit.
No, he don't.
He was asleep during that class in wrestling school. And for the uninitiated, stepping into Nick Gage's domain is an open invitation to an arena of pain where blood will be spilled. Like, there's no way you're working a Nick Gage match and not getting color. This isn't even this isn't even color. It's the whole fucking crayon box with this guy.
With exercise of marker too.
Oh yeah. And then they talk about in one match he cut David Arquette with a light tube.
Yeah.
And he started to bug out a little bit, which is how he got cut in his throat. Apparently when Nick Gage was doing the thing on his forehead and David Arquette turned around, that's how he got the thing in his neck. So Nick's trying to blame David, saying he did it to himself. And then David was mad because he told him not to fucking cut him. He admits he's an actor and wasn't way over his head. But we'll get into more of that in a minute. Nick Gage's most intense battle was fought outside of the ring, as the harsh consequences of his lifestyle bled into his real life and left him at rock bottom. Painkillers, Percocet, OxyContin, he was hooked on all those things. And he later robbed a bank.
Wrestler slash bank robber.
Yes. And
he made it a do.
Yes. Gage is in the house, and Gage is going to do what he wants, and anytime you want to fucking fight him, you can. That's his attitude. He's like, I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want. Come fight me, motherfucker. I don't want to fight Nick Gage.
No, I don't want to fight Nick Gage.
I mean, here's the thing. If he can withstand that type of deathmatch wrestling punishment, you ain't beating him in a regular fight. You're just not going to fucking do it.
No, it's called a taser gun.
That's your best bet. And I bet he gets up from that shit. Because he's fucking crazy.
Tranquilizer dart. Jesus Christ, he still gets up.
It was enough to put down an elephant. And he's still getting up. It's like, run. What kind of Jason Voorhees crap is this?
Well, side of Freddy Krueger as well.
Oh, God, yeah. And, of course, now, deathmatch wrestling is a live-action horror movie raised on the blood-soaked matches of their heroes. If the participants strive to outdo icons of the past by escalating their brutality to new life-threatening heights, all to satisfy a bloodthirsty crowd. Like, that's the best way to describe deathmatch wrestling that I've ever heard. Like, when Jericho said that, it couldn't have been described any better.
True.
It really is. Like, they are literally out there. And the fucked up part is, like, they're trying to outdo the guys who made matches like this famous. Like, your Terry Funks, your Mick Foleys, your Tommy Dreamers, your Sandmans, New Jack. Like, there were guys, even Dusty Rhodes has done death matches before. Like, these guys have... Like, this is back when death matches were legit violent. They took it to a whole nother level because they want to prove they're tough guys by really going out there and doing this. But here's the thing about wrestling that most guys in the business don't understand. It's not a business of tough guys. Your job is to look tough.
Yeah.
But not necessarily be tough. Because here's why. At the end of the day, no matter how much violence you dish out, no matter how much pain you inflict, no matter how much blood you spill, there is one thing about wrestling that is undisputed.
What?
Somebody in the back is telling you whether you are going to win or lose. Someone tells you, hey, you're going out there, you're wrestling for X amount of time, this is the finish, and either you're going over, which means win, or you're doing the job, which means lose. And if that person tells you you're losing, you're fucking losing. Even if you could whoop this man's ass in a real fight, if they tell you you're losing, you're fucking losing. So that's my biggest gripe, is that you're doing all this shit to your body. You know you're going to lose. Mm-hmm. And the fans already know it's a work. So why are you killing yourself? Especially when these fans, and I hate to say it, I hate to be a dick, but here's the truth. Wrestling fans eventually turn on a wrestler. It happens. If you win too much, if you get too popular, if you're on top for too long, eventually the fans are going to hate you because they're going to get sick and tired of you.
I can 100% understand that logistically right there.
Yeah. Well. So you're basically killing yourself for a crowd of people who will one day forget your name. Mm-hmm. And
like you said, I haven't heard about that guy in years. What happened to him?
Yeah. Now, Nick Gage prides himself on being the greatest deathmatch wrestler in the world. He says you have to love this shit because it hurts, it burns, and the payday sucks. Okay, you just gave me 3 reasons why to never fucking do this.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, really? Like, the payday sucks? That's even worse. Like, you're doing this and you're not making a lot of money? What the fuck? That's what makes it sick in the head to me. You know, if I'm doing a death match, I better be at least making, rent money minimum. I better at least be able to pay my rent with whatever I'm walking out with.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the minimum for a death match. Now, ideally, I'd like to make more than that, but my minimum is my rent.
Yep.
I can take that money, give it to my landlord, and pay my rent for the month. Maybe I'll do the death match. But that's the minimum to even get me in the ring.
Yeah, true.
Anything less than that, kiss my ass. Now, he's the leader of a gang called Murder, Death, Kill Gang, which I thought was kind of funny because that reminded me of Demolition Man. Because like whenever somebody committed a murder, it was called a murder, death, kill.
Yeah, MDK.
Yeah, murder,
MDK.
death, kill.
Murder, death, kill. Wesley Snipes, character, get that out of jail. Murder, death, kill. 1. Murder, death, kill. 2. Murder, death, kill. 3. I was like, what the hell is going on here?
They basically killed a bunch of motherfuckers. And now he also represents Eastern Bloc Hate Club, which I was still trying to figure out what the fuck that meant.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know, but when I hear Hate Club, that sounds... I guess he's not prejudiced, but that sounds pretty fucking prejudiced to me.
That sounds prejudiced to me, too.
Now, he got into deathmatch wrestling because he's a little crazy in the head. Mm-hmm. You think?
Really?
Really?
No.
Would have never guessed that in a billion years.
Yeah, me neither. Nope.
Yeah. And his pain tolerance is high, and he wants to show other wrestlers that this style of wrestling is all right, and it can be done, and there is a fan base, and it's awesome. Okay, first of all, deathmatch wrestling is a lot of things. One thing it's not all right.
No, it's not.
It doesn't do anything to help the business. Basically what it is it's a niche market that very few people want. And you have to be a sick, twisted fucking person to not only want to do this, but enjoy seeing it. Like, to me, the only way I would ever enjoy seeing a death match is if the people in the match hate each other so much that they had to have a fight to the death. Like, you had to have a storyline that is so personal, so out there, so controversial, that the only way to truly satisfy the crowd is for someone to die. That's the only way a death match would really be sellable to the casual fans. Because most people are just looking at this and they treat it... That's why a lot of people shit on wrestling and treat it like a joke. Is because of deathmatch wrestling. Mm-hmm. Like when people say, like, oh, you're in the wrestling business. Like, oh, so you use staple guns and light tubes and stab each other? And we're like, no, what the fuck? Mm-mm. We do actual wrestling. You know, work, grapple, hip toss, takedown, actual wrestling. Like... Mm-hmm. Deathmatch wrestling, it definitely has a fan base. The fan base is sick and twisted. Mm-hmm. If you enjoy watching deathmatch wrestling on a consistent basis, I can't be around a person like that. I can't. I can't be around a person like that. I can't be friends with a person like that. I can't date a person like that. I met a woman who was into deathmatch wrestling. I don't want to be anywhere near that bitch. Unless she puts out. I'll probably. She's one of those girls. It's like you fuck her and don't call her again, and then change your number afterwards, because you don't want that bitch to find you. Exactly. So some deathmatch wrestlers are some of the best storytellers and the best in the world at connecting with an audience. Yeah, I heard somebody say that. What story are they telling?
All they do is go down and beat the shit out of each other to no point of death. There's no storytelling. It's like, I'm going to beat the shit out of you. I'm going to beat the shit out of you too. I was like, and they go at it. I'm like, okay, this is emotionally disturbing here. Whoever enjoys this shit. Jeez. I was like, why aren't they, I don't know, dead?
There's no story.
There's no story.
In a deathmatch.
No, it's not.
It's like watching a slasher movie that just has slashing. Okay, there is no story. So, Nick Gage's greatest rival was Jon Moxley, who before making it big in WWE and AEW, got his start in CZW. Moxley says he did deathmatch wrestling for the feeling of having half his blood gone while sitting in the locker room smoking a cigarette and drinking a beer. Yeah, I see.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck?
Exactly.
That's it?
They do this to things that should be against the law.
I'm like, really? That's what Jon Moxley finds enjoyable?
Well,
No wonder you were miserable in WWE. Oh my God, I had to work?
No.
Oh my God, I had to actually wrestle? God, no wonder you was fucking miserable. Yeah, I like having a pizza cutter put between my gums. Fucking crazy motherfucker. That is the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life.
He is the insane.
He's the Death Rider, and he's fucking nuts. AEW let him get a little fucking nuts, but you would think he'd have a brain after he got the fuck out of that shit. Now, for nearly a decade, Gage built a reputation on a fearless appetite for violence, but he would be put to the ultimate test on the most ruthlessly unforgiving stage, the Tournament of Death. Every year, fans descend on backyard farmlands to witness a multi-round endurance test of violence, where wrestlers must survive several gruesome matches over the course of a single day. The tournament takes place in Delaware, out in a field that looks like Woodstock for deathmatch wrestling. Fans park their vans close, and the whole time they are getting drunk and smoking weed. It's a place where they can have blood and glass and fire, and cops aren't going to break up the party. So basically that's what they're all about, you know?
Getting drunk, smoking weed, watching deathmatch wrestling. I don't drink or smoke weed, but I don't even watch deathmatch wrestling.
Okay, you are what kind of lies are you telling right now?
What lies?
You know good and hell well you smoke and drink more than any of us.
No, I don't.
What the fuck are you trying to sell?
Nothing.
Oh, you are so full of crap. I swear to God. Yep, those eyes are brown as fuck right now. But yeah, so, and what's interesting is that literally it's all farmland. Mm-hmm. That's why, I think that's where the term mud show came from, because it's definitely a mud show. It is a mud show in this. But literally, it is one of the biggest events that people go to. But people literally go out there, and you could see it. It was fucking crazy. They have curtains set up still where people walk in and out of. They still got a backstage area, try to. Their backstage area is basically the woods.
The woods.
Yeah. Now, in the finals of the tournament...
Tent.
Yeah, tent. Yeah, there was a tent at one point. In the finals of the tournament, Gage faces Thumbtack Jack, which I could not believe that was a real fucking name. In a fight that would redefine the meaning of deathmatch wrestling, nothing could prepare the crowd for the real-life horror show that was about to unfold. Now, we cut to Brett Lauderdale, who was the owner of Game Changer Wrestling. Now, if you guys follow my personal YouTube channel, Vinny Bucci, I have a show on there called Booch Shoots On. If you listen to me talk about the social distancing match and the Invisible Man versus Invisible Stan, you pretty much have my opinion of Game Changer Wrestling. You pretty much know where I stand with this company. And 90% of the time when this company books stuff, my first question is, what the fuck is wrong with you? And he's been through good and bad times with Nick Gage. In 2009, he was a full-time referee for CZW. That explains a lot of shit. Mm-hmm. He reffed the finals of the Tournament of Death. This is before he became the owner of Game Changer Wrestling. He was just a referee. Nick Gage at the peak of his popularity, and Jack was an import from Germany and was an international deathmatch star. So apparently, even outside the country, they do this shit. But, like, I know in Japan, deathmatch wrestling is where most of this stuff happens. In fact, there's one particular deathmatch show that we'll be talking about later on in this series. I won't say the name of it yet, but that'll pertain to a little bit more, and we'll get the rest of the group's thoughts on deathmatch wrestling as we progress with this. Now, Nick took offense to the fact that everyone was bragging about how tough Jack is, and this is supposed to be Nick's house. Mm-hmm. So Nick's basically pissed off that everybody thinks Jack is tough. Well, that's because he is. Mm-hmm. And Nick, you kind of found that out, didn't you? Mm-hmm. Now, the match they were in was called a 200 light to death match. In this match, the entire ring is surrounded by vertical light tubes stuck in between the ropes. Because why the fuck not? I mean, really. That's a match?
Yep.
What is it, like a lumberjack match and the light tubes of the fucking lumberjacks?
I don't know.
How the fuck? What the fuck kind of dumbass match is this?
Don't know.
But now Jack throws Nick into the tubes. The top of it snapped, so the bottle was sticking there, and he got hit in the wrong way, and the buckets of blood started pouring out of his side. Out of the side of him, and it quickly get the fuck out of the ring. I think this is where you... Is this the part where you tapped out?
Or no, I was already past that by then. You already convinced me to watch. I was already watching.
So, what was your reaction when you saw this?
I almost lost my lunch. I was eating and watching. I was looking at my phone. God dang it.
You freaked out that much?
I freaked out just a little bit, and I got over it, really, because I was like, it wasn't there. I was like, good God, dude, how are you alive? Because it turns out that he did die for 7 minutes.
For 7 minutes, he was dead. And he said because his arteries got sliced. It got really bad. And he walked to the back while Jack broke the rest of the tubes in frustration because the match ended quickly. And Nick tells the nurse to tape the wound up so he can get back in the ring because he's not losing to this dude. Mm-hmm. Nick demands to go out there, but they are telling him no. He's not registering that this is serious and he could fucking die, which for 7 minutes he did. He yells the smart mark holding the camera and demands that he lets the record show that he wants to go back there, but they won't let him. And here's the thing. I've known Nick Gage was fucking crazy to begin with, but I can't really be mad at him for wanting to get back in the ring. Because in that moment, nobody wants to bitch out. Because when you do, people start questioning, your manhood and shit. It was like when I was eating the car, and I reached the point where I had to stop eating, or the metal was eventually going to kill me. I had a choice to make. I made the choice. People thought I bitched out, or when we were going to get shot out of the cannon, and I couldn't fit inside the cannon because no one bothered to measure the cannon to see, hey, can I fit in this fucking thing? And I even said, let me try to go out this back way. And they said, dude, if you can't fit through this cannon, it will kill out your insides. So they wouldn't let me in the fucking cannon because they screwed up. And everybody thought, oh, Vinny bitched out on the cannon. No, I fucking didn't.
No, you couldn't fit.
I would have happily gone through the fucking cannon. Find a cannon that's my size. I'll fly through the sumbitch tomorrow. That's how fucking mad I was. It still fucks with me to this day. But anyway, eventually the ambulance shows up. They're trying to get it on the property, but it can't get on the property, so they call for a helicopter. That's how fucked up it is. Here's the thing that I want to say to this Outlaw Mud Show shitfest. How do you not have a clear-cut way for an ambulance to get to the ring? Your whole fucking tournament revolves around death match wrestling, where people lose pints of blood, where arteries can potentially get slashed, where people could fucking die and did die for 7 minutes before being brought back to life. And I'm not talking being brought back to life like kayfabe, Undertaker, I give you back your soul shit. I'm talking on a fucking helicopter, clear, Clear. Clear. 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000. 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000. That's shit. An ambulance shouldn't have even had to get there. A sumbitch should have already fucking been there. You should have legit medical people on the fucking scene at all times in case shit goes wrong, because with these marks, it can go wrong. Because most people who do deathmatch wrestling don't know how to work a match to fucking begin with. They're doing this shit, so it's like, oh, I don't want to go to wrestling school. I don't want to take bumps and do all this other shit, so I'll do a thing where I don't have to work out. I can just pick up a blunt instrument and go, bang. Grunty smash. Grunty pin, 1, 2, 3. It's like that kind of caveman bullshit.
Smash.
Exactly. It's bullshit. Mm-hmm. It's all bullshit. Like, literally, you should have had somebody there. Always, you should have medical people there. An ambulance, rent an ambulance. Find a hospital people, get some medical staff. Pay them for the fucking day. Find an off-duty person that's, a medical doctor that's not working. Hey, here's a couple bucks. Come help us.
Yep.
So you got legit medical people.
Mm-hmm.
That should be a big part of your budget.
It should.
Because these people could potentially fucking die.
And you can go to jail.
Exactly. Dumbasses.
I would never go to a deathcore match. It's like, no, I'm good. Would you watch it on TV? No.
Again,
No. Fuck.
unless there are girls there that are guaranteed to fuck me, I ain't going.
Yeah, me neither. I was like, nope, why not?
Yeah. So the helicopter lands. Nick goes in the helicopter to the hospital.
Yeah, I watched that.
That's where he flatlined and was dead for 7 minutes. And now it's solidified his spot as a folk hero because he died in the Tournament of Death. Mm-hmm. Which is kind of fucking ironic.
Yeah, it is kind of ironic.
And it fueled Nick's ego, and he has said that he was willing to die in the ring if that's his destiny. He will do this until he physically can't do it anymore. Mm-hmm. And from what I've been seeing on Twitter lately, especially with the popularity of this episode, he has no signs of stopping anytime soon. I think Nick Gage is going to keep going. Hell, they just recently, a while back, depending on when you're watching this video, but at the time we're recording this happened recently, John Moxley can find Nick Gage at a GCW draft thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they were trying to reignite that shit because they talked about how John Moxley is Nick Gage's like greatest rival. Because they had classic matches in CZW. They even showed some in deleted scenes that were from the documentary that were fucking cringeworthy.
Yeah, like taking a staple gun and staple on top of their forehead. I'm like,
yeah.
You guys are demented.
It's demented. It's demented crazy shit. So
Loco.
Yes. Now, Nick Gage was born and raised in National Park, New Jersey, which is a low-income, middle-class town in the 80s. It was like that. I think it's still semi like that today. Mm-hmm. But in general, it was low income back then. He was raised by a single mother who was everything to him. She died of breast cancer. He played football and got into fights a lot. His dad was a wrestling fan, and that's how he got into it. He had a backyard company called Hardcore Backyard Wrestling, which backyard wrestling was very, very popular in the 90s. I will say that. There's even a wrestling video game called Backyard Wrestling.
Yeah, I remember that.
You remember that game?
Yeah, I remember that.
Dude, I played that game. I actually loved
too.
It. They would videotape their matches, and one time they took barbed wire from a farm that they bought and wrapped it around the poles, and they would have a no-rope barbed wire match on a trampoline. Sounds like something Kenny Omega would do. So they were inspired.
Kenny Omega? You mean Kenny Beta?
Kenny Beta, yeah.
Kenny Beta.
Yep. So they were inspired by Japanese death matches, particularly ones done by Cactus Jack and Terry Funk, because those two were fucking insane.
Yeah.
But they also knew how to work. They knew psychology and they knew storytelling.
Yes.
And they didn't have. Here's the thing: they didn't have to do the death match all the time.
No, they didn't have.
They could save it for big moments and big rivalries. Guys like Nick Gage, they need to do deathmatch wrestling, or they're not worth watching. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately. Now, the blood, the violence, and the way they told the story, they loved it. He was also a huge fan of ECW, or used to be. Mm-hmm. Because after ECW was gone, CCW took over, and brought a level of violence never before seen in the United States. So CZW, Combat Zone Wrestling, they were crazier than ECW. Jesus. Like this was basically, like, they were ECW on fucking meth. I would say on crack, but there was a lot of crack in ECW. So I'm saying meth, because there weren't a lot of meth heads in ECW, but crack, cocaine, that was everywhere. You know. But it was like insanity. And Nick Gage's brother was called Justice Payne. And ECW hated on CCW. Like, and they said because they were too violent and too extreme. Do you know how fucking violent and extreme you have to be for ECW to cringe?
Pretty hardcore cringy stuff.
Yeah, when you make ECW go, I'm out of here, man. Like that, because they've done all the crazy shit.
Toodaloo.
When you got people like New Jack or Rob Van Dam or Sabu or the fucking Sandman or Taz or the Dudley Boys going, this is too rich for me. Like that's a red flag.
Yeah, it is a red flag.
That you're doing some fucked up shit. And Nick says they're just jealous that a younger generation came along who's tougher and fucking crazier than they are. No, they're not, Nick. No. I can guarantee you this. They're not fucking jealous. They're not. I promise you they're not. I 100% guarantee you they are not jealous. They are concerned because y'all are fucking crazy. That's not a compliment. That's a fucking problem. Because you guys are going to fucking kill each other. And I know you're sitting there going, well, if it is my destiny, I'll die in the ring. Yeah, good for you. But you make the wrestling business look like a joke to other people when your whole match revolves around just spilling blood and slicing people up. And thinking it makes you tough. It doesn't make you tough. It makes you fucking stupid. Why does it make you fucking stupid? Because wrestling is scripted.
Very scripted.
I know that's a hard concept for you to grasp because you don't like to work. You, for the most part, like to shoot. And we're going to get into that shit in a moment. But no, ECW's hating on this because y'all are doing hardcore wrestling, but you're not doing it right. There's a right way and a wrong way to do anything. There's certain people that have a certain gimmick that works a certain way because it works for them. Because it's a style that works for them. Because they worked hard to perfect that style. And for you guys to over-dramatize it, abuse it, and take it to a higher level that it doesn't need to go. There's a reason why it didn't go to a higher level. It didn't need to. Because when you go too high with something, you go too far. And when you go too far, it stops being entertaining and starts being fucking sick.
And twisted.
And demented. Yes.
Sweet, so twisted and demented. Yeah, I'm good on that. I like professional wrestling. I like a good hardcore match, but no. Equals disturbing shit, and I'm soulless for Christ's sake, but these guys take the cake.
So, in a match, he got lit on fire, and he stopped, dropped, and rolled, and said, that shit doesn't fucking work. I'm not gonna lie, I laughed at that.
I did too.
Because most people tell you when you're on fire, stop, drop, and roll.
Yeah.
Don't run because it creates more heat.
Yeah, true.
So he stopped, drops, and rolls, and he said, this shit doesn't fucking work. I'm still on fire. Until somebody finally has to, like, pour some water on him and get the fire out. And then when OxyContin became hard to get, he later got hooked on heroin. Because he couldn't get his hands on the OxyContin. So he started going to heroin, which is never good when you start doing the heroin. It is no bueno.
No bueno.
No bueno on the heroin.
Yeah, no bueno on the heroin.
Out of all the drugs, that's the one drug I know for a fact I'd never try.
Because you don't like needles.
Don't like needles. I understand y'all how y'all fucking do that. I don't get it. That's fucking nuts to me.
Or even get tattoos.
Yeah. I'm scared of needles, man. I don't do tattoos. Yeah. So that's the only reason. I'm afraid of needles. Otherwise, I probably would get one or two. But, so as Nick descends deeper into addiction, his career and his relationship with his brother Chris begin to deteriorate. He's face to face in the ring with Chris for a match. And Chris's anger and frustration is about to erupt. Because Nick wasn't on top of his game. He didn't remember how to do stuff because he was all fucked up. So his brother says, "Wake the fuck up," and slapped him in the ring. And then he puts him in the pain thriller, his finisher. He hits the pain thriller and dislocates his shoulder, Nick's shoulder. The match was quick and fans weren't happy. Which sometimes has to happen. When someone's fucked up and pilled up, you usually got to end the match quick. A best example of that is in 2011 at the Victory Road pay-per-view in TNA when Jeff Hardy wrestled Sting. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And Jeff was all pilled up and fucked up, and he could barely walk. So Sting had to hit the Scorpion Death Drop, pin him 1, 2, 3, win the match. And you see the look on Sting's face. He wants to beat the fuck out of Jeff. And he starts walking out of the ring. The fans are screaming bullshit, and Sting's just going, "I agree. I agree." But there's nothing you do. They had to end the match because Jeff Hardy was all fucked up on the shit. Now, granted, Jeff has since cleaned himself up, so I don't want people to think that we're harping on Jeff Hardy or hating on Jeff Hardy. I'm just giving an example of something that's fucked up that happens. So, fans aren't happy that the match ended quickly, but it had to because Nick didn't know what the fuck he was doing. And you got a guy who only knows how to do deathmatch shit, so he already doesn't know what the fuck he's doing, unless he has a weapon in his hand anyway. So, he had to end the match quick. Now, over the next few years, Nick spirals further into depression and finds himself on the verge of homelessness. So, he moves in with his girlfriend's mom, and he's basically sitting on the couch doing nothing. One day, she freaked out and kicked out both him and his girlfriend. Just kicked them out of the fucking house. So, Brett from GCW came home and saw Nick and his girlfriend sleeping on the floor. Because they basically broke into his house and slept on the floor. He snapped and kicked them both out. He was broke and out on the street. So he decides to rob a bank. Oh, yeah. He basically went into the bank and gave him a note that said, "Give me the money." Which I thought was weird. He robbed a bank without a gun or a knife or anything? What the fuck? Why would she just give him the money?
Good question. Maybe she was scared of him.
She had to be. He had to look dangerous or something because, you just hand me a note, give me the money. I'm like, I ain't giving you shit. Would that be hundreds or 50s? That, you gotta at least, you gotta have a weapon in your hand to do any kind of intimidation factor with me. Okay? If you're just coming at me with fists, fuck off. So, basically, he runs to Brett's house and dropped the money on his table. Nick didn't even realize he looked right into the camera when he robbed the bank. And Moxley says the coolest thing I've ever heard. Do you remember? He said, every night when Nick went to the ring, he wore a bandana around his face. He wore a mask. The one time he doesn't wear a mask is when he robs a fucking bank.
Robs the bank.
The one time you actually have to wear a mask.
Yeah.
You don't.
Nope.
That's fucking insane.
Stupid.
Which is why I always found it fascinating with the whole mask, thing now. Everybody's having to wear masks in public places. You now have to wear a mask at the bank. The one place you were never supposed to fucking wear one. That's fucking insane to me. How nobody, and since then no one's actually tried to rob a bank with a mask on. Because I would fucking love to see that. No bullshit. I love to see somebody in 2021 try to rob a bank while wearing a mask. Because technically, you're not breaking the law. I mean, because you're wearing a mask, so. But you are breaking the law because you're taking money, obviously. But I'm saying, they're not going to question you for wearing a mask in a bank.
Nope.
Because you see somebody, back in the day, you saw somebody put a mask on in a bank, you were like, what the fuck is he doing?
Yep, time to go.
Yep. You could literally prank somebody by pulling a mask out of your pocket and going, now would be a good time to leave. You could just do that and then freak somebody out.
Yeah, that would end very well.
Yeah, it's like,
hey, why you in here? I scared somebody. I pulled off a really bad prank. What did you scare? Try to scare people to think I was actually robbing the bank.
Hey, how do you spell shoot you in the fucking face? Is that one word, 2 words, 3?
But I see that now. the ginger and the Booch gets busted for doing something like that.
Yeah.
If I go back to jail, swear to God.
And of course, his girlfriend was still with him because Her girlfriend was basically a ride or die girl.
Yeah.
I don't know. Now, here's the thing. Here's the question I want to ask about his girlfriend, because I've been wondering about this. She stood by him through all this shit.
Yep.
Is she loyal, or is she just a fucking idiot?
Loyal.
Do you think?
Yeah, she's loyal. She's just loyal to her man.
Okay. You don't think she's fucking stupid for staying with Nick through all this shit?
Yes, but it's called love. I don't know.
That's fucking weird. That's some weird ass shit, man. That's some weird ass shit. While on the run from the law, they head to Atlantic City. Without an end goal in sight, they enter a casino with one objective: ball out before going to prison.
There you go.
Brett wasn't a rat, but when Nick chose to turn himself in, Brett picked him up and took him to jail.
Okay.
He said, when you're ready to turn yourself in, give me a call, but I'm not going to snitch on you because I'm not a rat. You know, and that's pretty much how it is. Like, you don't, yeah, that's my belief. No, the only time I'm going to snitch on somebody is if I'm in a situation where, like, you know, and I've been straight up honest. Like, people say, like, oh, are you going to lie? Are you going to lie and take the fall to keep somebody out of jail? Fuck no.
Nope.
I am not going to go to jail for another motherfucker. If it's you or me, I'm in court just like this.
Teacher, he did it, teacher.
Exactly. He killed that motherfucker. Shot him in the head 15 times, kicked him in the chest. I tried to call you, but the line was busy. I ain't fucking going.
Well, sir, did you also help get rid of the body as well?
Under duress.
25 to life, Mr. Bushy. Slam.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I am not taking the fall for nobody. I have a lot of friends and a lot of people I care about. I ain't going to jail for no damn body. Make that very clear. Don't be like, oh, if we're caught, Vinny will take the fall. No, Vinny ain't taking the fall. Vinny getting his ass the fuck out of there. He getting himself a fucking lawyer. He's getting out of this fucking thing. And if you go to jail, your ass is just going to fucking jail. I'll send you cards. That I ain't fucking good, but I'm not one of these people that's like, oh, we going to jail together. No, the fuck we ain't.
Yes, we are.
No, the fuck we ain't.
You're tagging along.
Fuck that.
Yes, you are.
No way.
Yes, you are.
Fuck that.
Yes, you are.
I ain't going.
Yes, you are.
I ain't going.
You sure?
No, I'm not.
You sure?
No, I'm not.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No. No. Not happening. Now, in the state Supreme Court of Camden, New Jersey, Nick pleads guilty to second-degree bank robbery and is sentenced to 5 years in New Jersey State Prison. They took him up to 3 North C, which is a murder block, a gang block, and a gun block. Now, all he did was rob a bank, and they put him in C block. That is insane. When you're on the North C block, and when you're on a murder block, that's some badass motherfuckers in there. So you gotta mind your P's and Q's. You gonna get fucked up, man. And his brother never came to visit him, and Brett visited him every day, because basically his brother was sick of his shit. And here's the thing: some people might give his brother a lot of crap. I don't fault his brother for not wanting to do it.
Yeah, I don't either. I agree.
Yeah. If someone's going to fuck their life up a lot, you know, some people, they have to hit, like, it's the truth about addictions. They have to hit bottom in order to realize they have a fucking problem. You can stand by somebody all you want, but here are the facts. If the person doesn't want to change their life, they're not going to change. And eventually it gets to the point where there's a fine line between supporting a friend and shouldering a burden. And at some point, you got to kick the burden to the curb. Sometimes that's the only way for them to learn is to have nobody else. And then realize you lost everything. Now you got to work to get it back. So I don't blame his brother. It's not his responsibility to put up with his shit.
Nope.
And now, if Brett wants to put up with that, go ahead. But he needed a reality check. And he did, because while he was in jail, he got tons of fan mail. And that's when he realized people really loved him, and it motivated him to get his shit together.
Get it together.
So he started training hard with the goal of showing people he can change while also putting deathmatch wrestling back on the map. He exercised hardcore twice a day, every day. So he actually motivated himself to get in shape. And actually look like a badass for once. And on March 31st, 2015, just over 4 years into his sentence, Nick Gage is released on parole. While Nick Gage returns to a raucous crowds all over the country, Brett Lauderdale becomes the owner of Game Changer Wrestling. His goal is to launch Nick to headliner status, and as a tribute to him, Brett's first event ever would be a deathmatch tournament appropriately dubbed the Nick Gage Invitational. And I guess with the exception of Cactus Jack or Terry Funk, if anybody's gonna have a deathmatch tournament named after them, might as well be Nick.
Yeah, the Nick Gage Death Tournament.
Yeah. Now, as we mentioned before, he was the leader of the Murder, Death, Kill gang.
Yes.
Come to find out, that's the name of his fan base.
Okay.
So that wasn't a faction that he led.
Okay.
Because I thought that was it. So
Yeah, so did I.
yes. And it was inspired by them loving him while he was locked up. Now, when he gets out, Brett arranges one of the most bizarre death matches in wrestling history. And that is, of course, with David Arquette. You got something to say?
You already explained yourself, no, but David Arquette was way over his head in this.
Oh, yeah. Now, David Arquette was determined to earn the respect of the wrestling world after being hated on for so many years due to him winning the WCW World Heavyweight title. Because right around that time, they were promoting the movie Ready to Rumble.
Yep.
So they thought, let's have David Arquette, go for the title and win it. Now, here's the thing that people don't know about this story. David Arquette said no originally when they wanted to put the belt on him. David didn't want to do it, but they insisted. So David took the belt. And DDP's argument has always been to fans that hate on him for this. If let's say WWE brought you in, you were doing something like a guest appearance for something, and they said, "Hey Zach, I want to make you the WWE champion. You gonna turn that down?"
No, I wouldn't.
Would you turn down being booked in a match where you pin somebody 1, 2, 3, and the world title is now yours, and you get to walk around saying, "I'm the WWE champion"? That's a question.
That is a very good question.
Who would turn that down is what I'd like to know. Comment below. Let us know. Would you turn it down? Would you not turn it down?
No.
But so there's actually a documentary called Can't Kill or Hard to Kill or something David Arquette. And the whole documentary is David Arquette on the indie circuit wrestling. And he did some death matches, but did a death match, but he also did normal actual wrestling. He just wanted to do death match because David Arquette's whole thing was he was tired of being viewed as a joke. He was tired of people mocking him, so he wanted to earn the respect of the wrestling world. And you can tell it's genuine because he doesn't have to do that. He doesn't.
Nope.
David Arquette could have just spent the rest of his life sitting in his mansion, making movies, being the WCW World Heavyweight Champion, which he says in the documentary, look, you can't take that away from me. I was a former WCW World Heavyweight Champion. So he agrees to a match with Nick Gage to prove that he is tough enough to be in the sport and not be treated like a joke. Now, they all go out to dinner a few days before the show. Basically, David Arquette treats them all to a steak dinner. And it's him, Brett, the owner of the company, and Nick Gage. Just the three of them hanging out having dinner. Now, Nick asks him, are you sure you want to do this? This isn't fake. This is real. The blood is real. The glass is real. The tubes are real. Now, here's the thing. And this is the thing about Nick Gage that bothered me. Not what happens later, but what happened here. Was him having to explain to David Arquette that this is not fake. First of all, let's understand this, Nick. David Arquette is not an idiot. Yes, he is an actor in Hollywood. But the man obviously has been behind the scenes at wrestling shows. He worked in a wrestling movie. He's been around the boys and has a respect of a good chunk of the boys. And guess what? He's very, very aware that pain in a ring is real. He knows. He knows the blood is real. He's seen wrestlers bleed. He knows the weapons are real. He's seen the fucking weapons. And here's another thing, Nick. It's not supposed to be real. It's supposed to be a work. Yes, the weapons can be real, the pain can be real, the blood can be real. But what happens in the ring is supposed to be scripted. You and the other person cooperate together to make a believable fight that isn't really happening.
Okay, we get the point. You mentioned this 3 times. Okay, you need to work. They don't work matches. They don't work matches.
Well, apparently it bears repeating.
I understand it. We get to the point here. Okay. Wooshaw, Mr. Vinny Bucci. Calm down. Remember your pressure.
My pressure?
Your pressure points.
What pressure points?
Bad Boys 2 in the office of the captain. Woosah. No? Okay, at least I try, folks.
What the fuck are you doing? So anyway, David says, and here's the key thing. He goes, yeah, just don't cut me. Mm-hmm. I know I'll bleed. Just don't cut me. Mm-hmm. Now, Nick has no plans to go soft on him and doesn't care that he's an actor. Now, David, if you look at the match at one point, gave him a hurricanrana to the outside and then dove off the top rope to the floor. So David kind of knew what the fuck he was doing in the ring. You can see, all right, David knows a couple moves. Not bad. But then Nick brutalized him with weapons and then cuts his forehead and mouth with a pizza cutter. Now, first of all...
Pizza cutter?
Yeah.
A pizza cutter? You get something with up just a tad bit better, but a pizza cutter?
I mean, it's one thing to cut the forehead, but the fucking mouth? Why?
Yeah, exactly.
Why? What is the fucking point of that? It's a stupid ass move, first of all. Second of all, this is why I don't respect Nick Gage. Never mind the fact he does deathmatch wrestling. I'm not a fan of it, but there's some people out there that are. Never mind the fact that he's a drug addict who robbed a bank. It's a wrestling business. Who hasn't been on drugs? Like, only a handful of people that have been drug-free in the wrestling business. That's a small-ass fucking list.
Yeah, I'll have to say that has to be a very small list.
It is a very small list. But my issue with Nick Gage is this. When you pull shit like that, again, you're not being tough. You're being a fucking asshole. When you are working somebody in a match, if they tell you not to do something to them, don't do it. That's a fucking respect factor. That is a policy that you are supposed to respect. And it's not even just about getting cut. It could be anything. Like if we're working a match, and I say, hey, Zach, take it easy on this shoulder. I'm a little hurt here. That way, if you go to like twist my arm, you know if you got this arm, don't twist so hard. This one, you can twist as far as you want because it's doing okay. Until I go like that, and then that's the signal, ease up. On this one, don't work it as hard. Or don't even touch this shoulder. Or hey, I got a bad knee here. If you're going to slam a knee, slam this one. This knee kind of hurts today. Or hey, I got this piercing. I got a Prince Albert. Don't touch, if you're going to do a scoop slam, don't touch the Prince Albert. Because I just got it, it's going to hurt. Like, shit like that is stuff you talk about. Or hey, I can do a bump, but I can't crisscross because I got bad ankles. Like, there's things you talk about in the ring. And based on that, on the limitations or whatever's going on, that's when you decide, okay, we can work with this, we can do this, let's do this. Okay, we can't do that. All right, then we'll go this route. That's how you work a match. That's how you structure a match together. And it's called respecting the other person because you're supposed to take care of the person you're in the ring with. Accidents will happen, but you go out of your way to make sure that the other person's safe in the ring, regardless of what the match is. So the moment Nick Gage cut him, he threw that out the window. And again, he wasn't being a tough guy. He was being a fucking prick. And that is my biggest gripe with Nick Gage. Now, David felt like the trust was violated. David throws a chair at him, and Nick hits him with a judo throw and says, "Stay down or I'm going to fucking hurt you." Mm-hmm. And then that's when the ref counts to 3. David then gets up holding his neck and leaves the ring. Because during the match, he cuts him with that glass tube, and that's when he turned around. And when he turned around, he got it right there in his neck. Mm-hmm. But Nick saw that it was just a scratch. It didn't look as bad as it did. Mm-hmm. But David's still going to grab his neck on instinct. So he wasn't gushing blood, but it still cut his neck. And I know, and then of course, like Nick's trying to make the excuse. Well, he turned into it. You shouldn't have cut him in the first fucking place. Man says, "Don't cut me." You don't cut them. And if you're as talented as everyone says you are, then you can find a way to work a match around a limitation like not cutting somebody. If you have to get all your shit in, then maybe you're not as talented as everyone thinks you are. Now, David gets up, holds his neck, he leaves the ring. He got in Luke Perry's car, and they took off, and they have not spoken since. Nor do they need to.
Nope, they don't need to.
Now, the match went viral and became one of the most talked about events in wrestling that year. Yeah, and it was.
Yeah, I watched it too. It was brutal. David Arquette did put his people give him crap. I was like, dude, he tries at least. But still, though, I don't know. I was like, oh, okay.
And here's the thing. David Arquette, at least on the indies, is a draw. Like, that's a name. And now, there's one thing that Gator brought up that he was going to say on the show that I'll say now since he's not here.
What?
Part of the reason that David Arquette said, "Don't cut me," was not just because he's an actor, but apparently he was filming Scream 5 at the time this match happened. Yeah. He was filming Scream 5. So he said, "Don't cut him because he's going to be on a movie set." So that was another reason why he had an issue. So I guess they had to, like, stitch him up and get some makeup and cover that up. That's a lot of makeup. Yeah, which is doable.
Yeah, it is doable.
Hey, I've learned that just doing the Going Live show, that if you use makeup, you can clean some shit up and make somebody look good.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm out of makeup in this world when I want to fix that ugly look of yours.
Yeah, fuck off.
Nah.
So as Nick travels the country, his diehard fan base continues to grow, and his personal and professional life were finally trending in the right direction. Until tragedy struck again on a cold January morning. Nick receives word that his brother Justice Payne committed suicide by jumping off the Walt Whitman Bridge. His suicide note just said, "Sorry." Apparently he stole a car and the cops threw the lights on, and before they can get to him, he ran and jumped off. So, in a way, it was kind of weird because just as Nick got his shit together, Chris's fell apart. He had serious mental health issues and substance abuse problems. His family left him because he had a wife and kids. And the bridge is actually behind Nick's house where he lives today. And so literally he can see the bridge where his brother jumped off. That's got to be fucking surreal.
Yeah, true.
To be able to see that spot where your brother jumped off.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And, you know, man, that's a whole other story for another day. But yeah.
As a person who's Nick Gage, I respect him for entertain people like me to go through that much pain. Yes. What if I was a professional wrestler, would I ever do that with him? Fuck no. He's not. It's unsafe, uncut wrestling. I was like, do I respect a man to go through that much? Yes. Do I respect a man for what he's just fucking mental? Do I respect him? I respect him. I respect him more than some people, but I'm good on that.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
It looks like Mick Foley or Terry. If Mick Foley or Terry Funk, one of them was a girl, out pops a kid. Nick Gage would be the kid. Oh
yeah. Now Nick believes he's gonna die sooner than later.
Yeah, this right there, buddy. Yeah, you keep on doing the shit that you're doing. It's kind of like you keep on, like with Ric Flair, he keeps on drinking. He's gonna die. I know you love the business, dude, but no.
Now, and Nick says he doesn't have a death wish, which is kind of funny because he's in deathmatch wrestling.
Okay, you don't have a fucking death. Okay, deathcore wrestling doesn't have a death wish. Does that make any actually sense whatsoever?
That makes zero sense.
Yeah, I know, right?
I don't have a death wish. I don't want to. I don't necessarily want to die, but yet I get in deathmatch
Okay,
wrestling. Now, today Nick is 40 years old and still going strong.
Okay.
And John Moxley ends it by saying Vince McMahon would kill to have one guy that connects with an audience the way Nick does.
That's true.
That I will agree with.
Yeah, he's very good with the crowd.
Yeah. Like that. That's the thing about Nick Gage. Regardless of how we might feel about him or how we feel about deathmatch wrestling,
Yeah.
he does have a fan base.
Yeah, he does.
And the fans definitely love Nick Gage. That is undisputed. And he definitely has a strong connection with the audience.
Yes, he does.
Very few people have a connection with the audience. So that is something that is very important and very, very rare about him. So, you know, that's definitely something that he definitely needs. And, you know, there's a lot of guys in WWE that don't really have a fan connection anymore.
Nope.
That's because none of them are trying to be stars. It has nothing to do with whether or not they do deathmatch wrestling. But, you know, fans love Nick Gage, so there is something out there for them. So hopefully, and we'll see what the future holds for him. You know, hopefully he can stay out of trouble. Hopefully he can keep, you know, on the straight and narrow path, not fuck things up anymore. And we'll see how far his career goes. And that, ladies and gentlemen, will conclude this episode of Boochcast Reviews Darkside of the Ring. Special thanks to Zach for joining me here on the show. And as we mentioned before, Gator Ricky Ross, like I said, he had a personal family issue.
He had a family
so he was
issue.
not able to be here. Now, at some point, he may reveal what that is. We're not going to talk about it for now, but he might. If he does bring it up, it might be next week, because I know Gator will be joining me next week, because next week's episode, or the next episode coming out, is going to be the Collision in Korea is going to be the next one. And that'll be myself, Gator Ricky Ross, and Mr. John Tumblin is going to be on the show. So make sure you guys join us for the Collision in Korea. Also, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button and ring that bell to be notified so you never miss another episode of Boochcast Reviews, Darkside of the Ring, as well as other additional Boochcast YouTube content. Make sure you are following us on Anchor, Spotify, Breaker, and Google Podcasts. Pick your favorite hosting site, follow us there, or you can follow us on all four. That's even better. Now, of course, like us on Facebook. Also, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Twitch. And you guys know the spiel by now.
Absolutely.
All the links are down in the description box. So go to the podcast hosting sites, all the social media platforms. Follow us there. We will talk to you guys next time. And until then, pizza, baby.
Look both ways before you cross the street. You knew that was
Fuck off.